Marvel TV has been on a heater recently with shows like Agatha All Along, Daredevil Born Again, but does that heater continue with something like Ironheart? Well, let's dive into the good, the bad, and the ugly and see just what Ironheart is all about. Starting off with the good, there is a lot to like about Ironheart. Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne, is an exceptionally personable and relatable character. We've all been in a place of our lives where we don't really know what we're doing. A lot of that for us is in college, but Riri here is in college and she's trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life, and she's going through some tough times. You know, her stepfather has passed away, her best friend has passed away, so she's really just a personable character here. The show also has some great performances from Dominique Thorne, but also from Anthony Ramos and Alden Ehrenreich. Anthony Ramos as the Hood Parker in this show, and then of course Alden Ehrenreich as Joe, who has a little bit more going on to him, but for this review I'm only going to really go into specific details of the first 3 episodes. The last 3, which I've also seen, will be more general because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. The action and the fights here, the scenes, there's not just like scenes of Riri Williams in her suit going around, flying around and looking cool. There's plenty of scenes of just fighting between, you know, Parker's sort of goons, sort of a gang that he's assembled to get black market weaponry and all of that, and to just sort of get rich in his mind. They fight with some characters and some other stuff here, and it does the sort of fight choreography is great, and it's not what you would expect for a show like Ironheart, but the best thing about Ironheart really is the intrigue, the mystery, because it is a show that you would look at and you go, oh, well, that probably looks like it's going to be this thing. And then it ends up not being that thing. It ends up being something completely different, which is insane to think that this show from 2022, 1, hasn't had a bunch of leaks about the plot already, and 2, that Marvel TV can give us something that we still don't expect out of a show like this. And that is the best part about Ironheart. The characters, the relationships, all of that going into the show, that's really what makes this show into something that's watchable and that's good, unlike some other of the Marvel TV shows that have been recently released, like Secret Invasion, stuff like that, that have been on lesser quality. This show doesn't fall into some of the trappings of those past shows. Now, for the bad. The bad of this show, everything gets sort of jumbled up. It really, like I said, those relationships, they're great, but they don't get time to breathe because everything is happening so fast all at once, and it's going so fast like this, and you can't really keep up. And it's just kind of like, oh my God, we need to sort of slow this down. Let's give it some time to breathe. Let's give just the characters and everybody, the audience, some time to think about this kind of stuff. And that's one of the biggest issues with the show. And then the other one is that it is very, very dark. Holy crap, this show is dark. The main character, Riri Williams, not only has faced the death of her stepfather, but the death of her best friend, and just like all of this is just piling on, and there's a character who's trying to live up to their family, and then Parker's backstory is a little bit sort of dark, and there's not a whole lot of moments of just kind of levity where you can kind of just go, and that is just kind of strangles you as an audience member when you're watching it, because you want sort of this time to breathe, like I was saying before, and you don't get it because the show just kind of just suffocates you in this wet blanket of just depression and darkness. And now for the ugly, because there is an ugly part of Ironheart. It is the fact that, one, I said before, the show was filmed in 2022 and sat on the shelf for this long. That means that it wasn't filmed after Marvel's new mandate for TV shows where they don't force the creators to make 6-episode seasons. That is the biggest problem with Ironheart, is that it is 6 episodes. It's that 6-episode formula that we all know and love from the beginning of time for Marvel TV that they have since gotten rid of. But here it rears its ugly head once again, and you just have this kind of lack of surprises, but there are surprises, but this lack of feeling when you're watching it and you're going, well, the 5th episode, like, this is going to have to wrap up pretty soon, isn't it? Because there's only 6. And then by the time you get to that 6th episode, everything is just kind of going at a lightning pace, just bam, 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 everything right after one after another, and you're going, please, can I just get some, like, a break here? And this show would have benefited so much from either a couple more episodes or shortening it. And the 6-episode length is probably the worst of the possibilities here for the show. More episodes meant that it wouldn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger like it does, and you have to think about what's going to happen and if the show is even going to get a second season because of that cliffhanger. We could have had a little bit more to enjoy, to breathe, to get some character development for other people in the series. And the other thing that's ugly about this one is that it does also that Marvel TV sort of, I don't know what to call it here, but trope, where they give a random character powers, and then that character just kind of falls off the face of the map. They kind of become less interesting that way. That happens to a character in this series, but that 6th episode, it does contain a huge reveal, a big-time Marvel character that we are going to talk about for a long time. I will not get into specifics, I will not spoil it for anybody, but you can expect in the 6th episode, if you get through it, and you get through it without having a heart attack from the pace, you will enjoy it. It is a fascinating, fascinating episode, fascinating character. And so that's what Ironheart is, really. Ironheart is a good show that could have been great, that is hampered by that 6-episode format, hampered by the pace, but there's plenty to like here as well. Check out Ironheart on June 24th. You can see the first 3 episodes on Disney+, and then on July 1st, you'll get the last 3 episodes. So they're not doling it out like a normal series. You're getting one half and then the other half, so at least that's better. But check out Ironheart and see if you like it more than I did. I liked it a good bit, but not as much as I could have. So thank you for watching, and if you like this review and you want to see more reviews like this, check out this playlist right here, and you got all of my reviews I've ever done on YouTube.